Sometimes movies get renamed. This is fairly common pre-marketing. A movie might be called something or even be untitled during production, then changed before the advertising campaign starts. But sometimes names get changed, often for really weird reasons, after or right before the movie is released. This often causes a lot of confusion and costs the studio tons of money in remarketing, so why do it? Here are 8 movies that went through name changes at some point really close to or even after their release. Boychoir, aka Hear My Song. Boychoir is a film about a troubled 11-year-old boy who is sent to a boarding school that trains boys as choral singers. Its 2015 release was limited and it got mixed reviews. Being one of those inspiring family drama type movies, Hallmark bought the rights to show it on TV, but strangely they renamed it the much more TV movie-ish Hear My Song, advertised it to air on CBS in April 2016, and then totally dropped it with no explanation. Hallmark later said that it decided not to air the movie because of complaints over sexual abuse that took place several decades ago at the American Boychoir Academy, the school that inspired the fictional academy in the movie. I couldn't find a reason for the renaming, but I imagine it might have to do with that too. Hex. Hex is one of those weird, legendarily bad cult movies. Released in 1973, it is best described as a motorcycle horror movie, which is apparently a genre of its own, about a motorcycle gang made up of World War I vets who get cursed in a rural town by a Native American girl. Oh, and Gary Busey is in it.
I'm going to pull your endocrine system out of your body.
Oddly, it's been re-released several times on VHS and DVD by various horror distributors under different names, including Charms, The Shrieking, and The Screaming. I guess if no one really knows the movie, you can name it as many times as you want. Edge of Tomorrow, aka Live, Die, Repeat. When Edge of Tomorrow was released in summer 2014, it was met with great reviews, but disappointing box office numbers. The Tom Cruise sci-fi flick about an alien fighter who is stuck in a time loop in which, when he dies, he's revived a day earlier, grossed about $100 million in the US on a budget of $178 million. Trying to drum up more interest in its home media release, Warner Brothers sort of retitled it Live, Die, Repeat on its DVD cover by making that phrase huge and Edge of Tomorrow tiny at the bottom. Online, you can find it for download as Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. This isn't even the first time the title was retooled either. The movie is based on the Japanese novel All You Need Is Kill, which is a much cooler name in my opinion. Before the Flood, aka The Turning Point. I go to the Toronto International Film Festival every year. It's probably the biggest highlight of my year. I've seen plenty of movies called one thing at the festival, then by the time they come out for real, they're called something else. But this is the first time, to my knowledge, one changed almost during the festival. Leonardo DiCaprio's climate change documentary, Before the Flood, was originally called The Turning Point, and was listed in TIFF's programs and schedules as The Turning Point. Then, right as tickets went on sale, the name was suddenly swapped for the more compelling Before the Flood. Director Fisher Stevens explained that Leo himself suggested the new name just 2 weeks before the premiere after looking at this painting of the same name. Hungry Wives, aka Season of the Witch. Season of the Witch is legendary horror director George A. Romero's third movie ever. Released in 1973, it's about a group of housewives who discover that a local woman is a witch and decide to learn the craft for themselves. Romero originally called it Jack's Wife, but had trouble finding someone to release it. When he finally did, it was retitled Hungry Wives and marketed as a softcore porn film, despite not really fitting that bill. As such, it didn't find an audience until it was re-released in 1978 as Season of the Witch, once Romero had shot to fame with Dawn of the Dead. And no, it's not related to the Nicolas Cage movie of the same name.
Whoever slays the most men drinks for free.
Or you're buying, my friend.
The Legend of Cirilla, aka Frozen Land. The Legend of Cirilla is a 2013 Canadian animated movie about 3 young Inuit who try to find the magical land of Cirilla in order to save their tribe. It got okay reviews, but did very poorly at the box office even in Canada. A direct-to-video distributor, Phase 4 Films, known for such gems as Blubberella and A Talking Cat, acquired Cirilla for international release, except they renamed it Frozen Land and mocked up the logo and cover art to make it look like a certain massively popular Disney movie. Of course, they got thoroughly sued by Disney. House on Tombstone Hill, aka Dead Dudes in the House. This 1991 movie by prolific genre flick company Troma is about a group of yuppie dudes who buy an old mansion and end up haunted by whatever was left behind in it. It was originally produced as The Dead Come Home, then changed to the hilarious Dead Dudes in the House, and has since been released as The House on Tombstone Hill and the Road. Whew. It's a horror comedy, so Dead Dudes in the House probably works best. The weirder thing about this one is that all of its advertising features these guys described as hip-hop dudes, but they're not even in the movie, no no matter what its name is. The Woods, aka Blair Witch. Throughout the production of Blair Witch, 2016's sequel to the Blair Witch Project, it was only known as The Woods. Posters and trailers were released under the name, and it was assumed that it was just another horror movie that happened to be by the directors of the Blair Witch Project. That was until there was a screening at San Diego Comic-Con and the cat was out of the bag. Was it just a publicity stunt? Well, not quite. The directors said that they chose to make Blair Witch under a fake name to avoid the inevitable fan and critic backlash that happens whenever the sequel to a much-loved movie is announced. And it worked. It grossed $45 million on a budget of just $5 million. Not bad. I'm gonna try to be doing more of these kind of weird facts videos. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if there's any other movies that had sudden name changes that you know about. Feel free to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching A Bored Chick.